Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are live, and it is another edition of NASCAR 06 Total Team Control on the channel. As today we are NASCAR Busch Series racing for the second race of the Busch Series custom schedule season with your guys' fan-voted driver, Kyle Busch. So yes, trying to get... I'm trying to think of a title for the name of this series, and it has to do something with Busch in the Busch Series Championship. Obviously, it's kind of a coincidence that it spelled the same, and we are going for the Busch Series title with Kyle Busch. But needless to say, we'll see if we can start off 2 for 2 as far as good races go. I think it's pretty well documented. I'm not great at the super speedways on NASCAR 06, but in the Busch Series, though, we did finish in the 7th place position in the Daytona 500 because we led the most laps in that race. We were actually 6th in the point standings coming into today's race. So, with that being said, we'll see if Kyle Busch can have an even better finish, potentially get that first win of the season. He qualified not quite as good as he did at Daytona, so I don't think he's going to have the same speed in the race car, but it might be a little better in the draft because he was not good in the draft. That was pretty much the one thing that was lacking for him. Once he did lose the lead, few and far between in that race, it was tough for him to get it back over the green flag runs. It pretty much was down to pit strategy on whether or not he was actually going to get back into the lead. So as far as today's race goes, of course, try to stay up there with the leaders as usual. Try to get as many laps led as possible, control the pack. So hopefully we don't get taken out in the big one like we did in the truck race at Daytona last night. Like and subscribe again for more daily NASCAR content. We'll get into today's full race live stream, live realistic commentary. And on Sunday, be sure to tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the live race commentary of the NASCAR Cup Series playoff race at Texas, the round of 12 opener. Mark Martin's going to be on the pole for today's race with Busch starting in 4th. Still good qualifying effort, though, to say the least for Busch. Green flag is going to be in the air. We are underway, and the gearing setup very similar to Daytona, so Busch taking off on the start, nearly 4 wide into the first turn. Busch is trying to get to the lead early, and he'll do just that. Didn't need to qualify on the pole. Not when you get a restart like that. Kyle Busch going at it right away. On lap 1, corner 1, in this 312-mile, 117-lap race, and now he's trying to block Tony Stewart all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. The run for Mark Martin on the outside lane, which Busch will not block, just trying to stay consistent, but Mark's going to lose a little bit of head of steam. 3 wide for about 3rd or 4th on back. And off the exit of turn 4, who will lead lap 1 to get 5 bonus points. Martin on the outside, Kyle Busch on the inside. And it will be pole sitter Mark Martin who will lead the opening lap. Something happened off turn 4 because a lot of the pack got really spaced apart. It is about a 4 or 5 car breakaway all of a sudden. I'm not even sure how that happened. So Mark Martin out in front. Tony Stewart second. Kyle Busch back to 3rd. Besides Wade Solinsky, Mike Head, Michael Head, Derek Booth, Billy Kramer, and others welcome into the stream. Busch back into 2nd, passing Tony Stewart. We'll see if he can stay in the draft a bit better than at Daytona. Stewart into the wall off turn 4. Gonna cost him some time. The field broken up though right now. I think if Kyle Busch can keep up with Mark Martin, which is going to be close if he's going to be able to or not. But if he can, I think you just draft with Martin, stay in 2nd place, and try to pull away from the other cars that have broken away from the pack, which it looks like Brandon Miller and Tony Stewart are the cars in 3rd and 4th, trying to draft together to catch back up to Busch and Martin. Got a die cast in the mail. Awesome, man. One car slow, by the way, off the exit of turn 2, trying to make his way to pit road. Can't tell exactly how fast they're going. If it was maybe somebody that got jumbled back off the initial start. We've had a caution in the first 10 laps of all the super speedway races. Non-points races and points races over the course of speed weeks. We'll see if this one at Talladega for the Busch Series tonight will be any different. Call him at the front of the field, but it is going on for pretty much 6th on back in that giant pack. Gonna be a big sister, oh boy. Oh, wait, hang on. You're talking... I didn't make any... That didn't make any sense in my head for a second. I'm not going to lie. I thought you said you were going to be a big sister, and I was confused. And then I was like, oh, yeah. That's, He's not talking about himself. There's nothing wrong with that. I was just a bit confused, that's all. Kyle Busch going to bump draft Mark Martin on the back straightaway. Busch was very aggressive with the bump drafting. In the Daytona race, it worked out for him. Didn't work out so much for Ricky Craven, though, in the truck race. NBA Live 96 for Game Boy. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I turned the standings into black, so that way you guys could see it better in the daytime races. I noticed in the white, at least for me being colorblind, it was kind of blending in with the sky a little too much. The night races, I'll have it as white, and then I'll have it black on the day races. I should have done that a while ago. Oh, wow. Clint Boyer in the 2 car is the one that's going to go a lap down just 6 laps into the race. As Mark Martin continues to lead. Again, Kyle Busch, no intentions of even getting the 5 bonus points here. Was aggressive on that first lap trying to get it, couldn't do it. And Mark Martin, who's led the first 6 laps of the day, pulling away. Kyle Busch, they'll run the bottom, they'll run the middle, they'll run the top. Busch is able to stay with them, at least on these fresher tires at the start of the race, but they'll wear out quickly on this bumpy Talladega surface. Remember, it was repaved in 2006, so this is the last year in which they ran this Talladega bumpy surface before it will be repaved next season. Then you're not going to see as much tire wear. Day race is dark, and yeah, exactly. You gotta slap Keegan for... I was confused, man. I didn't read it right. That's all. More bump drafting from Busch to Martin. One way to stay out of a potential big one in the Busch Series race is do exactly what Busch is doing now. The only race through Speed Weeks we didn't have the big one was in the Busch Series. We had 5 cautions, but no big one. The Cup Series, we ended up having it with 2 laps to go in the 500. Had it the dual race in the first half of the dual. And in the Truck Series race last night, of course, we had it in the first half of that race as well. Could strike at any moment. Doesn't matter what time of the race. Potentially multiple big ones could strike. One thing with Busch bump drafting Martin, he's just got to make sure he's hitting him square on the back straightaway. Very easy for these bumpers to not align correctly with the Gen 4 cars, especially with 2 different manufacturers, with Martin being in a Ford and Kyle Busch being in a Chevrolet. 10 easy laps by Talladega standards, and that was Busch's fastest lap of the race, that last time of a 49.256. I wish we knew what the interval was between second and third. So obviously the interval between first and second has been really more than a car length in a handful of laps. Mark Martin and Kyle Busch staying very close to one another. 49.239, even faster that lap for Busch. All it takes is one caution to bunch this field back together again. This race is not going to go caution-free. I can pretty much guarantee that. At least I'd be shocked if it did. I don't know that there's ever been a caution-free Busch race at Talladega. There's been a couple Cup Series races that have gone caution-free. A lot of younger drivers usually in this series, and mixed with the veterans, of course, at this time, but still. Stay on the outside. Two of Clint Boyer staying down low. Boyer going to go 2 laps down already. Seems like every 6 laps, the leaders are catching Boyer. The only thing is if we get the green flag pit stops for Busch to stay with Martin, his crew is going to have some fast stops, which in the season opener at Daytona, didn't matter whether it was green flag conditions or pit stop cautions. Kyle Busch's pit crew was on the money all day long. Gonna have to do the same again here today. He's gonna want a shot at victory. .196 miles an hour, middle of the back straightaway, and the bump draft at 193 to 194 miles an hour. And these Busch Series cars would probably be even a bit quicker in the Cup Series. And this is just with a 2-car draft, let alone you wonder what kind of speeds they're making in the middle of that gigantic pack further back on the racetrack. I did see that. Season update is October 6th. They said it was supposed to be in September, like way back in April. We should have known that that was going to be true. But yeah, I did see that earlier, though. October 6th. So we can look to start our NASCAR 22 season right around then. If I'm not mistaken, that's the day of the Talladega Cup. Or, no, never mind. It's not the same day, I don't think. It's the same week as Talladega. I should be back by then, though. I would think. Oof. Martin got a little loose that time. Kept his foot in the gas, held on to it. As Kyle Busch continued to bump draft him. Full Trickle's number 46 City Chevrolet diecast. That's a nice one. I mean, obviously it's from a movie, but still. Even like the throwbacks, William Byron ran of that car like once or twice. Solid paint scheme. Iconic, likely because of the movie, but still. October 2nd is Talladega. Yeah, I'll be back. Should be back that Monday after the race. Easily start our season then. Look at on the track map, though, just how far Mark Martin and Kyle Busch are pulling away from the rest of the field already. I mean, they've got to be every bit of at least 3 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. 49.120 that last lap, fastest of the race by Busch by about a full tenth of a second. Him and Martin are running a ridiculous pace right now. And obviously being tucked in line behind him, the handling of this 5 car, at least through the first half of the run, is pretty solid. Martin and Busch are going to bump draft their way by Boyer, who is down in the bottom on the backstretch heading towards turn 3. Boyer a third lap down in the early going of the race. Career NASCAR 22 update? No, I don't plan on it. Just a season or two. Kind of the same way I did it on NASCAR 21 on that final season. So I didn't trust the career mode not saving. Halfway on fuel right now. Kyle Busch has to be getting a lot better fuel mileage than Mark Martin as well, you would think. Sitting in line behind him. Constantly drafting as Martin's led the first 18 laps of the race. Latest diecast from this year, which one? I should get his Little Caesars diecast, knowing just north of, or just south of Detroit. An hour, 15 minutes south. Looked like the 135 car was blowing an engine down on the bottom of the racetrack. He'll try to lip his way to pit road. Hopefully the field can get around him and hopefully he can get to pit road safely without an accident. In turns 3 and 4 right now. 20 laps in though. No caution. The longest we've gone in a super speedway race in any of the 3 series so far this year, including the dual race at Daytona, without a yellow. The one he ran in Michigan. I can't even remember what scheme that was. Was that the, shoot, what was it? I don't even remember what paint scheme he had that day. I don't remember paint schemes too well, I'm not gonna lie. Unless they ran it, like, within the last, like, week or two. Unless it's one that I, like, absolutely love. I kind of forget about the rest. Oh, the Unifer... Okay. I was about to guess that, too. If I was going to guess, that was going to be my guess. Just kind of clipped the apron, shot up the racetrack a little bit. Obviously, it's good that it's just him and Martin pulling away. First time he's done that. Don't want to risk losing Martin in the draft. It's a long ways back to the third place race car for Kyle Busch. But he's pulling in with a big run in the middle of the corner. And sucks right to the back bumper of Martin again. Mark Martin ended up with a top 5 finish in the season opener at Daytona. Kind of wasn't really a factor until the second half of the race. And then he was competing, leading laps, and had a shot to win late. Why did I look away like that? Starting to lose my focus. Just being a 2-car breakaway. This is definitely different from any other super speedway race we've had on the channel before. No guarantees it's going to stay like this the whole way. Kyle Busch is alright with it. Get himself in contention. You want to be leading late in case a caution comes out in the final 5 laps of the race, but at the same time, until that happens, you can make it a 2-car breakaway like this and just make it a 2-car race, even though these two aren't teammates. I think Kyle Busch would be A-okay with that. And Mark Martin probably would as well, because Martin's the one leading all the laps, too. Busch has still been bump drafting him on the back straightaway pretty consistently. Hitting him square, even past halfway through the fuel and tire stint to start the race. Obviously working the share draft most of the way around the track too, so Martin's definitely going to be an ally. It's good that they're building this chemistry early and they work together late if none of their other teammates are around each other. But if it's anything like the last race, it was all Hendrick Motorsports versus Roush Fenway at Daytona. Brian Vickers, of course, won the season opener at Daytona for Hendrick Motorsports. Kyle Busch again had that 7th place finish. Couple Roush Fenway Fords ended up in the top 5. Both Mark Martin and Matt Kenseth did. Edwards was up there leading laps at one point late in the race, but he ended up falling back and ended up finishing a lap down. Losing the lead draft, multiple laps down at that. Had some sort of mechanical issue. 49.117, fastest lap of the race by Busch at lap 24 that last time by. So he continues to run behind Martin. More bump drafting on the back straightaway. In just 25 laps at Talladega, look at how far away Mark Martin and Kyle Busch have pulled from the rest of the competitors in the field. And we're probably about 10 or less laps away from green flag pit stops for the first time today as well. Have to assume we're going to be seeing some cars pitting fairly soon. I think Busch is going to try to get 5 bonus points at least to lead 1 lap just in case. You never know what happens. And running up in second. At least at some point before we see pit stops. Just going to continue to bump draft Martin for right now. And Martin may pit before Busch. Ideally, if they could pit at the same time, probably be great. We're not going to know these guys' pit schedule until at the last second, so Busch is going to have to be on alert once we get to about lap 30 on. Tim Groth, thanks for tuning in. Plenty of opportunities to pass. I'm just riding in line, pulling away. I stink at super speedways. I'm trying a different strategy today. We got to change something. Obviously, I ran well in the Busch Series race at least, but at Daytona, had a top 10. Big run coming. Another bump draft on the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. NASCAR 2311 Cup Series, thanks for tuning in. Quarter tank of gas left in Kyle Busch's race car. So it's getting close to pit stops. He's going to try to pull out and make a pass on Martin on the back straightaway this time. See how much of a run he can get this time around. Clint Boyer going to go, I think, a 4th lap down already. His race is pretty much done. So run on the back straightaway for Kyle Busch, but it's not enough of a run that time. So he pulls out of line. He doesn't have any help from behind him, so that's what's making it very difficult for Busch. If you back up, it's so risky because if you lose the draft, you're toast. Mark Martin's obviously got great single car speed and clean air too with him qualifying on the pole, so there's going to be a car that's going to be the hardest to pass at the front of the field. It will probably be the 9. Not sure if he's going to be as good in the pack and behind another car in the draft. We have yet to see that because he's led the first 28 laps. Why does the tri-oval look so flat? They probably added a bit more banking in the tri-oval at Dega after the repave in 06. I'm not entirely sure if that's the case or not. Busch pulling out of line in turns 3 and 4. Can he clear Mark Martin this time? It's going to be close. He's going to squeeze him. And clear in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Kyle Busch in the lead for the first time today. Martin going to try to make the pass in the tri-oval. Doesn't look like he'll be able to, and it'll be Kyle Busch getting 5 bonus points, leading his first lap of the race. Good move. And he'll let Mark Martin go again. That's all Kyle Busch wanted. Try to make the exchange quickly here. Back straight away. Kyle Busch in the draft again. First lead change of the race today. It's Kyle Busch. Was able to practice a winning move, though, as well, by doing what he just did. So if it does come down to it late in this same situation somehow, then he knows he can make the pass. Don't want to wait till the very last lap, though, because he couldn't make the pass the lap before. That lap he did. You have to have just a big enough run. He barely cleared Martin. He definitely had to slide up ASAP as soon as he thought he had him cleared in the middle of turns 3 and 4 to make that pass work. $20 people watching right now. 15 likes already. Appreciate it, everybody. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We're just getting started with the custom schedule seasons on NASCAR 06. Second race of the Busch Series custom schedule season. Talladega, back-to-back super speedways to start the year. Our next race will be at Bristol under the lights. And we're not too far away from green flag pit stops for the first time today. Kyle Busch going to go off strategy when the time comes, though. Going to go with just a 2-tire stop. It'll be right sides only, as long as he doesn't lock the tires up trying to get into the pits, which is very easy to do when you're making green flag pit stops on super speedways. Busch keeping this car clean. Outside of the bump draft that he's done with Martin on the back straightaways, everything is... I mean, it's not even going to really do any damage to the race car either. Busch is running his own race. Fine with Mark Martin leading. He's already got 5 bonus points. He got his 1 lap led just a few laps ago. Waited until they pulled far enough out ahead first. Wasn't the initial strategy, but everybody else got held up off turn 4 on the opening lap, so this is kind of a makeshift strategy on the fly, and it's working at least in the early going. And we've got our first takers onto pit road right now. Boyer's about to go a 5th lap down into turns 3 and 4 on the inside of the racetrack, but there were some cars that hit the pits and are currently on pit road. Kyle Busch in the red on his fuel tank indicator. Looks like Mark Martin going to stay out this time. Busch will also. Kyle Busch will pit the following time by, though, at lap 34. So Busch stays out now, but he'll end up pitting. And we'll see if Mark Martin will pit with him. If not, these two could get separated following green flag pit stops. They might anyway if Mark Martin ends up taking 4 tires, which would likely be the case. We know Kyle Busch is going to end up taking right sides only. And with Busch pitting this time, he's going to get to the inside of Mark Martin. Trying to get as much speed as he can without having to just back up and hold himself in line. Going into turns 3 and 4 will complete the pass for the lead again, but it won't be a lead change this time at the line. Martin will stay out. He'll lead this lap still. Kyle Busch will pit. Can't lock the tires up because he's going with right sides only. Into the pits goes Busch, slowing the car up. Easily done. A lot less pressure to pit under green flag conditions when you have only one other car around you, and it was on the outside, so. Right side's only for Kyle Busch. It'll be the first pit stop of the day. They'll top off on fuel and no adjustments for the Lowe's Chevrolet. like Brian Vickers on pit road, same lap as Kyle Busch as well. Busch going to stay way down on the racetrack right now as the back of that pack is making their way through. Having that big of a lead too, Busch should be able to hold on to the lead lap. Most cars may be at risk of going a lap down. Martin's on pit road though right now. And Kyle Busch will make his way back onto the racing surface on the back straightaway. So Busch should be the leader. If not this time by at the line, the following time by, with taking right sides only. It was a clean stop, a fast stop at that for the 5 crew, as they've done so far in the early going of the season. Nothing but fast, clean stops. Oh man, it looked like we almost had a caution moments ago entering the pits. A lot of smoke. But we do stay green as we are still caution free in the Aaron's 312 at Talladega. Mark Martin still out in front right now, and even with a 2-tire stop for Kyle Busch, he may struggle getting to the 9. Martin down on the bottom of the racetrack right now. Busch already up to speed though. The 9 is not up to speed. Busch going to get as much of a draft as he can on the back straightaway. Mark Martin still trying to get up to speed. Big move by Kyle Busch. There was definitely no chance at a block there for Martin. So Busch is going to cycle into the race lead now on the back straightaway. Following green flag pit stops. And we'll take our first field pass of the race at the start-finish line this time by. We'll drive as the 57 of Brian Vickers for a couple laps. Not sure where Vickers is at in the field. He's quite a ways off the lead. Currently sits himself in 13th right now. I want to see how far back of Kyle Busch he is interval-wise. Oscar Ramirez Herrera and Dark Crypto, thanks for tuning in. Well, 4-car group right around the 57 of Vickers right now. As much drafting as we've seen so far today, at least with bigger number of cars in a pack. Might be 3 wide behind Vickers. Yep, they're definitely 3. Michael Jourdain Jr., Lance Trigger, and J.J. Yaley are the 3 cars that were 3 wide. Definitely haven't seen that much since the start of the race. Vickers content with just kind of holding on to 13th right now. We'll go back to Kyle Busch at the start-finish line. He continues to lead. I'd have to imagine Martin's obviously got quicker single-car speed as we expected coming into the day. Plus the fact that Busch ended up taking right sides only on this older surface, so advantage might be to Martin anyway as we continue to stay green. Vickers just getting to the start-finish line right now, and Kyle Busch, look at how, again, far away he is on this racetrack. Busch is in the middle of turns 3 and 4 as Vickers is getting to the start-finish line, and Vickers is in 13th. Busch has a 1.7 second lead still over Mark Martin. He's getting a chance to lead some laps now, even though Mark has led just over 30 laps already in the race today. The second time Busch has led, so sitting currently at 3 lead changes. By the time Martin got up to speed, Kyle Busch was a couple seconds ahead of him. Here comes Mark Martin in the 9. Busch going to try to hold on to the lead. At the start-finish line, it's another lap led. If Mark Martin gets alongside the 5 of Busch, Busch will try to ride in line behind him again. See how aggressive Mark will be to try to get to the lead quickly. Give us that 4th lead change. Yeah, that's just the speed that the 5 and the 9 have had today. And why it's been such a huge lead for these two is just the teamwork Kyle Busch and Mark Martin continue to have throughout the course of the day. Running an absolutely clean race. Martin looking to the outside, and he will take the lead and lead that lap at the start-finish line. So that'll be lead change number 5, passing Busch on the outside, heading towards turns 1 and 2. Martin clipping the apron just a little bit. The problem is Busch on these older tires may struggle keeping up with Martin in the draft. This could be dangerous. If Busch ends up losing the draft, it is a long ways back to 3rd place. And this is not good. We're going to take our 2nd field pass of the race today at the start-finish line. Hopefully Busch can try to run Martin down in about 2 laps. Mark Martin just blew past Kyle Busch on the front stretch that last time by. He's got so much single car speed, and now he's pulling away from the 5. Corey Freed, thanks for tuning in. Vickers on the outside. He's lost a couple spots. He's back to 16th now. The outside of J.J. Yaley currently. Yaley going to pull clear of him in the tri-oval. And Vickers will draft in line behind Yaley. Vickers was caught up in an accident at Daytona, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, I think I'm thinking of Todd Kluver in the truck race last night. Vickers almost hit the apron that time in the middle of 3 and 4. Vickers on 4 tires, so he's not going to have to worry about having any sort of struggle keeping up with J.J. Yaley. This goes to show how hard it is to win on super speedways, too, when you consider Vickers won. He's been outside the top 10 all race long at Talladega so far. Probably qualified much worse, though, and without any caution so far, and the field getting broken up through green flag pit stops now, it's going to be a lot harder for Brian Vickers. Try to hang on in this pack. Vickers has a run on the back straightaway on J.J. Yaley. Pulls out a line down to the inside. To make the pass, Lance Trigger pulls down to the bottom to block the 57's run. Yaley up to 15th though again. And we'll go back to Kyle Busch once we get to the start-finish line. Might see some lap traffic at Talladega if we get through another set of green flag pit stops. Don't usually see that. Especially even on long runs, you don't usually see that. I don't think Busch has anything for Martin. He still lost time. Santiago Kid, thanks for tuning in. Bowman won Stage 2 at Texas in 2020. Honestly, I don't remember who wins stages and who doesn't. That far back, at least. I feel like throughout the season, somewhat, I can remember. But going back to, like, past seasons... Well, I'd say Kyle Busch is in need of a caution right now to catch back up to Mark Martin, but because he's so far ahead of everybody else, I think it'd be more beneficial for the caution not to come out. At least not yet if we're going to get one, because he can kind of just remain at second. The third place car is kind of all by himself as well. Was able to gain a little bit of time through pit stops. I think it's Tony Stewart in the 33. The hope is that Kyle Busch can hang on to him in the draft, and maybe they could run down Mark Martin if two cars are faster than one, which should be the case. And they'll have to tandem with each other to get up there, just like Mark Martin and Kyle Busch tandem with each other to get this far ahead in the first place. And it is not Tony Stewart. I don't know who this is. Actually, it might be Clint Bowyer. I don't even think it's a third place car, so that would be even more beneficial. It is Bowyer. Busch going to let him go in the tri-oval as he goes to the outside. Kyle Busch down to the bottom. Remember, Bowyer's about 5 laps down, 5 or 6 laps down. But they have gotten that 2-car fixed, it seems. Kyle Busch trying to desperately stay in the share draft of Clint Bowyer. I don't know. It's going to be close. Busch has to keep that wheel as steady as he possibly can, trying to make sure Bowyer doesn't get away from him. It is very close, though. Bowyer's right on the brink of pulling this 5-car. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch almost 4.5 seconds behind Martin all of a sudden. Alright, 2 tires still might pan out. He's keeping up with the lap car at least. It's a good thing Bowyer was very slow at the start of the race, but they've gotten his problem fixed. Unfortunately, he's already 5 or 6 laps down, so he's not going to have a shot of winning the race. But he's got a shot of helping another Chevy try to win the race. I'm sure he would like to work with his teammate Brandon Miller if he had the choice. But he doesn't in this case, at least for right now. Miller was in 4th earlier, though, so if we do get a caution, we know Bowyer would line up on the inside of the lead lap cars. He could actually work with it then, but for right now, it's not going to be the case. And by the way, Kyle Busch is about 0.3 of a second quicker than Martin in the draft, so these 2 cars are catching up. About 0.4 of a second quicker at the line. That last lap was Busch than Martin. So Martin has a lot of single car speed, but by himself, compared to 2 other cars in the draft, even if one's multiple laps down, like Bowyer is, and Kyle Busch on 2 tires rather than 4, they are definitely closing that gap. Busch not going to be overly aggressive with the bump draft on the back straightaway like he was with Martin. The only reason why is because he's on 2 tires, so doesn't want to risk a wreck potentially happening. Done well for himself so far in 50 laps. Hasn't scraped the wall, and outside of bump drafting, no contact with another car. Busch wants Bowyer to run the inside, though, because they moved up towards the wall. And with Busch's car a little looser right now on these older left side tires, it's harder for him to run the wall like he was earlier with Martin at times. And it's actually costing these 2 a little bit of time. Bowyer and Busch down to the bottom now. Bowman will get his points caught up to the other drivers. I can't remember how he ran in the All-Star race this season, but didn't he run well? I thought he won a stage. I'm thinking he might have won a stage. I could be wrong, but I feel like he was the best Hendrick car that night. Yep, October 6th is supposed to be the NASCAR 21 Ignition Season 22 update. And you can plan on the game coming back to the channel once that happens. That's the full plan. halfway during this fuel run right now. Now, one thing that Busch could do to catch back up to Martin's go with another 2-tire stop again, it's going to have to be left sides only this time because he took right sides the first time. But 3.7 seconds off the lead. Definitely about 6 to 7 tenths of a second have been gained. Fortunately, though, Bowyer right back to the outside again. Busch still doing a great job driving the car in dirty air. And obviously being a lot looser with the old left side tires. Trying to get Bowyer down to the bottom, it's not going to happen. Might get him to the inside lane into turns 1 and 2 this time. Busch on the apron, has to be careful. That's going to cost him. Had a run on the 2 car. He didn't want to hit him, but he also didn't want to lift and lose the momentum. He ended up making contact with Bowyer. Bowyer up into the wall. That was highly unfortunate. That choked the 5 car down on speed, too. It happened to me in the Truck Series race quite a few times at Daytona last night, too. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time today. I don't even know that a 2-tire stop's going to be enough to get Kyle Busch the lead now. Third place is still so far behind yet. Billy Carjoy, thanks for tuning in. That's the best thing that could have happened to Mark Martin. Comment in the chat down below, do you think we're going to have a caution-free Talladega race? Or do you think we're still going to get the inevitable big one? We didn't have the big one in the Busch Series again the other night at Daytona. It was the only series we didn't, but still had 5 cautions in a 120-lap race. It's only 3 laps shorter, but in mileage it's a little bit longer. Ethan says no. We're not going to go caution-free. Here comes Tony Stewart. He's in front of Bowyer now. Might get more than just 2 cars in this draft this time around. A little bit of a block in the tri-oval that time. From Kyle Busch on Tony Stewart. A couple Chevrolets again. They try to work together. Bowyer down on the bottom behind the 5. Trying to keep the 2 car behind him. Great job by Kyle Busch blocking the 2 of Bowyer, falling in line behind Stewart. He won't have any risk of losing the 33 with the 2 right on the back bumper of the 5 this time. So obviously Stewart's probably got a faster car than Bowyer. I don't think he's faster than Martin. I don't think anybody's faster than Martin personally. Busch is fast on equally fresh tires. He can keep up with him, but it was tough to even pass him. Fortunately, I think the 33 might have a little bit more speed than the 5 of Busch as well. So now Kyle Busch drafting in line behind Clint Bowyer in the 2. Last chance to try and hang on to somebody in the draft. 9.7 seconds right now behind race leader Mark Martin. That's about as big of a lead at Talladega as you're going to see ever. Massive run coming up for Kyle Busch. He'll get back around the lap car of Clint Bowyer into turns 3 and 4. It carries that run now in the draft of Tony Stewart again. Busch has literally been in the top 3 this whole race, though, too. Really, the same 3 have been in the top 3 the whole race. Swap positions with each other a few times, but I mean, even Tony Stewart's pulled away single car more than a lot of these other drivers. Now the 33 and the 5 can work together. So they try to run down the 9 and Mark Martin. Just hoping he stays on the inside. They were 9.7 seconds back. They're 9.3 back already. Ideally, if that gap could be cut down under 6 seconds, at bare minimum, under 6 seconds before we get to green flag pit stops, there's a chance Kyle Busch could cycle to the lead with a 2-tire stop. But that's kind of the target number I'm looking at for that to actually happen. Weird seeing Tony in the 33. 49.033 that last lap for Busch. It was his fastest of the race. Might be the first time he's even ran a 49.0. So he is definitely running some quick laps behind Tony Stewart. It didn't look like anybody else was going to be a contender outside of the 5 and the 9. If Tony Stewart can find his way up there, I think he could have a shot to win this race on speed. 3 different teams. Got a Kevin Harvick Incorporated Chevrolet, a Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet, and Roush Fenway Ford. Jimmy Johnson, no, this is Kyle Busch. He had low sponsorship in the Busch Series when he was driving the 5 car. Go back to the far chase cam for a lap, then we'll go back alternating through those different camera angles one more time in this race while we draft with Tony Stewart. Down to 8.5 seconds. At least Stewart's running the bottom. Boyer was not. Tony stayed hooked to that yellow line on the inside, even on the straightaways. At least for now. And Kyle Busch pitted at lap 34, so if he is to pit again, we're probably looking at lap 78 being the next stop for Kyle Busch, going 34 laps of fuel again. Now, he wasn't in the draft for pretty much every lap like he was the last time. He ran a little bit of time by himself this run when he lost Mark Martin in the draft. Took him a while for Tony Stewart to catch back up, really, over the entire run. 49 flat that last lap for Kyle Busch, his fastest of the race. Stewart and Busch clipping the apron. Stewart kind of clipped it first, and then I clipped it just trying to follow him. I'll actually hold off on alternating camera angles again until we get through our next set of green flag pit stops. So about lap 68 will be the second stop of the race. It's going to be interesting to see if this is going to be a 3 or 4 stopper with the odd race length of it being 312 miles rather than just 300. That has added 4 laps to this race compared to what you would see nowadays at Talladega, where it'd be 113 laps and even 300 miles. Never would have thought there was a chance to go caution-free to actually make that come into play, but you gotta wonder, though, as we're halfway home, if this race can actually stay caution-free. Could we see a fuel mileage race at Talladega with that being the case? Yeah, 68, not 78. I corrected myself the second time. I was wondering if I said 78. I was thinking about it after I said it. I was like, did I say 78? So hopefully Stewart doesn't pit before Busch. They've closed in 2 seconds. It's just a shame that Stewart was so far behind. Kyle Busch had to fall all the way to 9.5 seconds off the lead before finding Stewart. That was the risk we were talking about during that first run that Busch lost Martin on equal tires. He's not going to lose him, but at least he can keep up with Tony Stewart on right sides, which again just goes to show how fast the 9 of Mark Martin is. Martin's about to get into lap traffic, which could either help him because he's going to have drafting help, or it could hurt him depending on how slow the back markers are at the rear of the field. That could only help Stewart and Busch as well. About 5 laps away from Kyle Busch's second pit stop of the race. Has to make sure he doesn't lock tires up and have a good pit road entry once again, because he'll be taking left sides only. And those right sides will stay on the car. We almost had a caution with green flag pit stops the last time because there was some smoke on the pit road entry towards the tail end of those green flag stops. 7 seconds off the lead flat. It is going to be very close to whether or not Busch is going to be 6 seconds back. Again, that's kind of the magic number as far as interval off the lead Busch wants to be when he takes that 2-tire stop, taking left sides only. It will be quicker to change left sides than right sides as well. So he'll have that going for him. Still going to have to make sure this fuel tank gets full, though, at the same time. If he would have been close enough to Martin, he might have went 4 tires. Just for the sake of, you know, trying to get that grip back, but he's just too far back to go back on the 4-tire strategy. He's going to have to stay with the 2 stops, or not 2 stop, but the 2-tire strategy. So 2 more laps for Kyle Busch until he pits. Tony Stewart going to stay out of the pits this time. So does Martin. A lot of cars on pit road, though. Green flag pit stops are starting for the 2nd time today. Stewart. Busch get around Labonte, who was coming out of the pits. 6 seconds off the lead is Stewart and Busch now. So head for the back straightaway. About a lap and a half till Busch pits. See if they cut that down even more. The more and more they cut down the lead on Martin before pit stops, more of a shot Busch is going to have getting to the lead. Assuming Stewart takes a 4-tire stop, he's not going to be able to close much on Martin, if any at all, depending on how fast his stop is. Busch is staying out this time. Tony Stewart will stay out this time as well. Another lap these two can draft together. Mark Martin also stayed out. 0.4 of a second quicker than Martin that last lap for the 5 and the 33. Really low entry into one. Busch being aggressive on this last lap before he pits. And can't lock the tires up. That's going to be big. As a run on Tony Stewart, he'll pull out of line, trying to stay on that inside into second. 5.3 seconds off the lead is the gap. Busch will pit this time. Martin will stay out. Stewart will stay out. Stewart kind of had to as he was stuck on the outside. And here comes Busch into the pits. He can't speed, and he can't lock the tires up because he's going left sides only. And he got down just in time. A lot more aggressive coming into the pits that time than the first stop, but it worked out. And it'll be left side tires only for Kyle Busch. Probably going to save him a second on this pit stop compared to taking right sides only, and we'll see. It's going to have to be another clean one for Busch if he's going to want to come out with the lead. Oh, caution is out! Busch is on pit road, our first yellow of the race, and boy, that took a while. Over half the race. Hopefully that does not lap Kyle Busch. I don't think Mark Martin got all the way back around the track yet, but we'll see. Oh, and a nasty wreck. One car has flipped at Talladega. About a 4-car pileup in turns 1 and 2 as the 138 was coming out of the pits, and it's Kenny Wallace who ends up upside down in 1 and 2. And another car gets launched as well, but stays on all 4. Busch had to pit. He might not have made it another lap on fuel. He's going to stay out now. This may actually give him the lead, though, at the same time. I think it might. Green flag back in the air at Talladega, lap 73. Busch out in front. Gets a good launch on the restart, even with the old right side tires. I wish I could have made the call to change forward because I was on pit road. I was actually still in my box, but there was no chance to change it with the game, unfortunately. Real life, I feel like they would have said, put on forward, put on forward. But that caution actually is going to give Kyle Busch the lead, so kind of a good timing yellow as he was on pit road but did not go a lap down yet at the time of him pitting. That will trap quite a few cars though a lap down. You saw Labonte restarting on the inside lane. But we are pack racing once again though at Talladega, and I'd imagine we're going to be seeing some debris cautions after a 4-car wreck and a flip from Kenny Wallace in the 22, 3 wide middle. Off the exit of turn 4, Labonte's going to get his lap back. And this is where things could get sketchy following the first caution of the race. Especially if we do see debris in the middle of the pack. Could cause somebody to run it over and have some problems. Busch going high. He just wants to block Martin to hold on to the lead. John Hamilton's a lap down right now. Hamilton going to hop in front of Kyle Busch. Busch going to draft with him. Caution for the second time. Cautions may be breeding cautions now as we're late in this race at Talladega. And it's going to be debris off the 133 car of Lance Trigger. I believe it was probably the front bumper that came off, maybe the hood, one or the other. But that will be the cause of caution. The replay not really showing the debris falling off the race car, but it is a debris caution for yellow number 2. It's allowing Busch to get more laps led, but Martin's led so many at this point. I don't think there's any chance of catching Martin in most laps led. A little too far gone, and we'll have another restart. Green flag back in the air. Lap 78. 40 laps to go at Talladega, just outside the pit window to make it to the end yet. Truex will restart as the first car lap down. With good timing caution for John Hamilton and Bobby Labonte, who got their laps back right before that caution came out. Even better launch by Kyle Busch this time. Truex quickly pulls to the outside. He'll be the first car lap down. Yellow out for the 3rd time now as we were only in turns 1 and 2 with that debris caution. And again, it's off Lance Trigger's race car. That time it was his hood, so Trigger's brought out both of the debris cautions. You can see the hood flapping around and hopefully missing every car in the field. I don't think it did miss every car in the field. It looked like the 106, or 108 actually, might have ran it over. So that's caution number 3. Busch will stay out again, as will the rest of the field. We're going to be at the edge of the pit window one of these times if we keep getting caution after the restart. Green flag back in the air. And we're down to just 36 laps to go now as the laps are clicking by under the yellow, and that's going to ramp things up on these restarts more and more, you'd have to imagine. Busch was able to go 34 laps, so he's about 2 laps short if he was going to pit during that caution. That's why he stayed out. But we may be within the window if a caution comes out quickly again. Mark Martin looking to the inside. Busch saw that, goes down to the bottom. He's mirror driving now as they get up to speed through 3 and 4. 3 and nearly 4 wide off the exit of the corner. 3 wide for the lead. Martin back out in front of Talladega. Busch stuck in the outside lane. And he's 3 wide on the outside in the tri-oval at that. Couple lap cars underneath. Mark Martin, the 3rd different time, is leading at Talladega. Kyle Busch stuck on the outside, can't go anywhere. Desperately trying to hold his lane. Doesn't want to make contact at these high-rated speeds in the pack. Finds a hole down to the bottom, he'll go for it. Look at the run Kyle Busch has on the back straightaway. 195 miles an hour. Big block by Martin on Truex. Truex goes to the outside to block Yaley. No free pass in the Busch series, I guess, because Truex is still lapped down. And it's the 9 and the 5 running nose to tail once again. And we've got some cars pitting off the exit of turn 4. Right back in the same spot we were with the 5 and the 9 bump drafting at the front of the field. 48.7 that last lap for Kyle Busch. About 2 to 3 tenths quicker than any other lap he's ran tonight. Right front definitely starting to wear at this point in the run. Car's not as free with taking left sides versus right sides only. Kyle Busch is fine with trying to block and hold on to the lead when he was leading. He's fine with just staying in second behind Martin again. And we're right back in the same spot we had ourselves from pretty much lap 2 on, which was Mark Martin and Kyle Busch working together as a team to pull away from the rest of the pack. 33 laps to go and still one stop out from the finish for these two. A lot of lap cars down on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get up to speed. Martin and Busch way up on the outside. Bobby Labonte throws a block on Martin. Martin has to go to the inside. They're going to split the 19, and Busch is in the lead at Talladega after a bad block by Bobby Labonte. Well, I guess it was a good block, but he still goes a lap down because the 5 of Kyle Busch is able to get around him. Busch so close to the back of these cars in front of him, but not close enough. Try to get the draft to potentially pull away from Martin. Martin staying with Busch. It was an accidental overtake of the lead. That was a great heads-up awareness by both Martin and Busch, and the way they split around Labonte was actually pretty cool. They did that without any contact at all out of nowhere while staying in the gas. Never lifted. And if Tony Stewart hasn't pitted yet, he is on the outside behind his Cup Series teammate Bobby Labonte, and he'll be looking for his first lead of the day and trying to get 5 bonus points. Only Kyle Busch and Mark Martin have led, and we have just 31 laps to go. Busch going to find himself 3 wide. He didn't know where to go. He should have just stayed down in front of Martin. Martin to the lead. Stewart in second. Trying to block Kyle Busch. He was able to do so. And now Tony Stewart trying to get a run behind the 9. With the right side tires in the yellow for Busch. Took left sides only during his green flag stop earlier. 30 laps to go at Talladega. Lap cars in play. Some have pitted, some have not. Busch with a run in the tri-oval, going to the bottom underneath Stewart. Martin going to block the 33. The 5 is on the inside of the 9. But Martin's got a big draft and a big run, though, behind those lap cars. And Stewart was able to follow the 9 enough. Martin trying to lap some cars now. It's going to be harder with those older right side tires for Busch to hang with these guys. That's why he's trying to get back to the lead as soon as he can so he doesn't risk losing the draft again. Gets to the inside of Tony Stewart. He's behind Mark Martin in the 9. And back up to P2, but he's going to be 3 wide middle off turn 4. Lap car down to the inside. Busch is squeezed right now. The 138 on the top was involved in that first caution of the day. Busch is still 3 wide middle. He's got a run on Mark Martin. Looking low. Lap car on the outside. 3 wide lapper in the wall. Martin into him. Contact between the 2 cars on the outside, and Kyle Busch will take the lead again in 1 and 2. Martin aggressively side drafted the lapper on the outside just a little too much, and it cost him first and second because now Stewart's up to P2. 3-car breakaway with a bunch of lap cars trying to get their laps back, so they're going to be racing aggressively here. Still haven't seen the big one. There were 3 cautions. We saw a car flip, but we haven't seen the big one. Still more than what happened in the Busch race as far as wreck purposes go. Stewart on the bottom, Mark Martin up high, and this is where it's going to get even tougher for Kyle Busch to try to block, because there are lap cars that are giving these two a little bit bigger runs behind. Martin up on the outside near the wall. Tony Stewart to the bottom. They're going to split Busch 3 wide off turn 4. Busch in the sucker hole. And Tony Stewart will lead his first lap of the race as he pulls up to clear Mark Martin in the 9. Martin goes high. Busch to the bottom with Stewart. Side drafts Martin in the middle of the corner. That's not going to do anything. That's going to allow Stewart to gap himself on the 9 now. How much of a run will Martin get? Labonte to the inside of Busch. Big run, though, for Kyle Busch. No chance for Martin to block into 3 and 4. Busch to P2. Carries that run in the middle of the corner now behind Tony Stewart in the 33. 26 to go this time by. Busch going low with a tri-oval for the lead. Can't get underneath Stewart. Martin falling back. Halfway on fuel during the run for Kyle Busch. Even with those 3 yellows coming out when they did, there's no chance that Busch is going to be able to make it on fuel to the end. As well as everybody else who has not pitted since the restart. Driver short pitted as soon as that window was open. Busch for the lead on the back straightaway underneath Tony Stewart. Had the run. Went for it. Nudges the 33. As they door bang on the back straightaway. Busch is out in front. He's trying to use the lap car for help. And the 108. He has cleared Stewart off turn 4. Another lead change. Next gen crash test dummy, thanks for tuning in. Busch trapped in with the 108. May not be quick enough to stay in front of Tony Stewart. The 108 going to go high. Busch is just going to stay low to block Tony Stewart off turn 2, though. Mark Martin has fallen back. He's trying to work with the lap cars to catch back up to Kyle Busch and Tony Stewart. Otherwise, it's in the hands of his pit crew to have a fast stop. Lap car on the outside. If Tony Stewart works with the lap car, it might be his best chance of getting around Kyle Busch, because otherwise he's kind of boxed in. Busch just only has to make sure he doesn't come too far off the bottom if Stewart has a run. Stewart may get a run, though, because Bobby Labonte in the 19 is closing in fast behind the 33. And there's a lot more cars further behind him coming up probably in about another half a lap with a gigantic run. Busch almost gave up the inside. Here comes Stewart. Labonte behind the 108 on the outside, so the 2 lap cars working against the 2 leaders. Lappers on the top. Leaders on the bottom. Kyle Busch has gone 2-stop strategy through the first 2 stops of the day. I think he's going to have to think about doing the same. Depending on how many laps we have left in this race. Oh, I think the lap cars might have made contact on the outside. The 108 as well as Bobby Labonte in the 19 rather. Stewart moved up to the outside and Busch was able to block. Here comes Shane Meal in the 32. Yeah, outside of Martin, Stewart, Busch, I don't know who else would be on the lead lap. Ryan Newman and Shane Meal right there, but there were some lap cars, again, who pitted after the restart. Plus the fact that the first caution came out in the middle of green flag stops, trapping a lot of cars a lap down as well. So they might not have pitted, but they could be a lap down anyway, if they pitted too early on the last run. Newman down to the bottom. Busch just kind of trying to block anybody, whether they're leaders or not. Again, they could be lead cars. We don't know, and they are. At least Casey Kane is. That's not Ryan Newman like I thought. It's actually another Dodge, Casey Kane in the 79. Kane leads on the backstretch. Busch with the run, though, into 3 down to the inside. Oh, there's contact. Up the track they go, but they both keep it off the wall. And again, Busch hangs on to the lead at Talladega, but Casey Kane goes to the outside, and after the contact, they're 3 wide for the lead. And Shane Meal in the 32 car will lead that lap at the line. It's been a 2-car race most of the day, not anymore. Busch needs to stay with these guys. Shane Meal out in front. Tony Stewart looking for it back. 20 to go this time by. In the air it's 3:12 at Talladega. Stewart with a block on Kane. Busch down to the bottom. Stewart has the run. Looking to the inside of the 32. Meal blocks Stewart. Busch was able to get by Kane for 3rd. Casey Kane didn't get a lap led in that transition and falls right back to 4th. And I think I see Brian Vickers in 5th. The Daytona winner has worked his way through the field. Meal with a big block on Stewart. That's going to slow both cars down. Busch to the inside of the 33. Gets into him. Stewart's in the wall in 1 and 2. He's losing a ton of time. He got a little too loose after the contact going into turn 1. Stewart up in the wall. Caution off of turn 2. And I think we might have the big one. With 20 to go. Oh, Blue Cas. I don't think it's Blue Casper. He was in the 138 in the last game. That's the second time the 138 has gotten pile driven from behind. This was by somebody else. The 119, J.J. Yaley. Was right in front of him. He got a piece of it. It wasn't the big one. It was another 3 to 4 car wreck again. And that's going to trap more cars a lap down. There were some cars that stayed on the lead lap that pitted that may be the leaders, though, on the restart. And, well, this is it. Kyle Busch going to take 4 tires because this is the first and only time he's going to pit under a caution flag today. His picker's been fast all season. We'll see if they can have another fast stop here. Really hoping for it. But he's going to have the grip, so it's going to be a little easier for him to stay with the draft. So I don't think he's going to have to worry about losing the draft at all today. And if that caution sparks debris yellows, though, off the restart, you also wonder how many green flag laps are we actually going to have to the finish here? Because we may not have many. We're already looking at probably 16 or 17 on the restart. Looks like Brian Vickers is going to win the race off of pit road. Shane Meal will be second, and John Hamilton will be the leader on the restart, as I believe only 2 cars had pitted and stayed on the lead lap prior to the caution. It was John Hamilton and Ryan Newman. Green flag back in the air at Talladega. 16 laps to go on the restart. Look at Kyle Busch going nearly 4 wide on the restart. Now he's 3 wide middle. He's got to run in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Clears his teammate Brian Vickers on the outside and gains 2 spots quickly. And that will move himself up. And now Shane Meal, though, back on the bottom. Busch to block Kenseth, who is a lap down on the inside. And John Hamilton trying to pull off the upset as a fantasy driver to win this Busch Series race. Busch going to let his teammate Brian Vickers go. He wants to work with his teammate. Again, Vickers was the Daytona winner. That would be the driver to work with, in my personal opinion, here late. 15 laps to go at the line. John Hamilton leads the first lap following the restart. Brian Vickers trying to sweep the super speedways to start the season. Busch has been in the top 5 all day. This is as far back in the field as he has been, and it was because of the restart. He restarted in 5th. He's on the inside of Kenseth with a run, 3 wide, because Kenseth got to the inside of the 57 car. Busch up to 4th. The best position possible in case the caution comes out would be more beneficial for Busch. We've had 4 cautions so far today. I don't know that we've seen the last. Busch side drafts the lap car in the 83. Vickers trying to get around the lappers as well. 14 laps to go. 48.604 that last lap for Busch, his fastest of the day. Saving the best for late. Ryan Newman in second. Might have bump drafted Hamilton in the middle of the quarter because there were some sparks up ahead. Kyle Busch going to stay with Shane Meal for right now in the 32. Lap car up on the outside in the 131. Meal and Busch are working together now, the two Chevrolets. Sticking with each other here to the finish. Vickers has lost third and fourth. .13 to go at the line, and we'll alternate through the different camera angles one more time in today's race as well. Shane Meal running the bottom of the racetrack. That's what Busch wants him to do. Busch has been a great draft car all day, but now it's going to be time to go for the win. Wasn't in a position to win late at Daytona, but he had a good finish, top 10. Today at Talladega, he's in a position to win, and he set himself up pretty much all throughout the race. Looks to the outside of the 32, but Meal's going to block him on the outside lane, and Busch is going to have to hang on to fourth right behind him. Meal running the outside in the middle of the corner, which is not what Kyle Busch wants him to do. He wants him to get back down to the bottom. I think that's because Meal blocked Busch up high, though. Meal definitely doesn't want to give his position up. 12 to go. Again, if we get cautions, we're going to have less green flag laps to go, and if we get a big one, there's going to be a lot of debris yellows, I'd have to imagine. I wouldn't doubt that we're going to see any now after that hard crash we saw bringing out caution 4. Kenny Wallace, who flipped earlier, if he's still in the race. Be interesting what speed he has. Again, Busch to the outside of Shane Meal, and he's going to get around him. Now he drafts with Ryan Newman in the 39. He blocks Meal to the inside into turns 3 and 4, and this will hang Busch into third. Meal can pull the block off in time, and then he hit the apron and had to check up. And now he's going to lose the top 3. Newman looking low for the lead. He hasn't led all day. Busch with an even bigger run, though, in the trioval way down to the inside. That lap led by John Hamilton. Hamilton down to block Busch on the bottom. Ryan Newman, the Rocket Man, on the outside. I'm surprised Newman is having a great run out of Super Speedway. He's up in third. Now, he's a Daytona 500 champ, but usually has bad luck. Busch has a run right behind John Hamilton, and they'll be coming to 10 laps to go this time by. Didn't feel comfortable with the run in the trioval that time. Hamilton's going low to try and block anyway. And John Hamilton again trying to pull off an upset. He is trying to be a fantasy driver to win a Busch Series race with all the Cup regulars in the field. And at the front of the field nonetheless, Busch, Newman, Vickers. Vickers, of course, won Daytona. Martin and Stewart have kind of dominated the race today. Here it comes, the run to the inside. But it stalls out with no help. And Busch is not going to be able to clear John Hamilton in the 120. Hamilton on the outside. Busch down low. Still side by side off turn 4. As they side draft each other, Ryan Newman starting to catch up. 9 laps to go at Talladega this time by. Who will lead at the line? It will be Hamilton by inches. Leading at the line. Newman to the outside for second as well. Oh, Busch clipped the apron going into the corner. That's not going to help him either. And he's back to third. Shane Meal not too far behind the 5, but Busch is trying to get his momentum back. Trying to desperately stay in line with Ryan Newman, but it's not going to work. He's going to have to let Shane Meal in the 32 car go. Busch running him tightly so he can try to get to the bottom behind Meal. That will be the game plan. Back to fourth goes Kyle Busch. Has to quickly fall in the draft. He's got fresher tires, and he also has Kenseth right behind him pushing him. If not, he's going to have to work with Kenseth. He's going to have to. Busch keeps losing the draft of these cars. Kenseth's a lap down. 8 laps to go. Busch went for the lead on John Hamilton. He just couldn't clear him, and then Newman ended up going with the 120 car, which hung Kyle Busch out to dry and has left him in the situation we're in right now, which is coming to 7 laps to go and back in 4th place, 1.3 seconds off the lead. Busch staying behind Kenseth. Got to know when the right time to make the passes is. And Busch did not feel confident that in the tri-oval that time was the right time. He's got to make sure he's still behind another car. He's been a better push car today than a lead car in the draft. Probably be a better lead car if he qualified on the pole like he did at Daytona. That wasn't the case. Kyle Busch going to go with Shane Meal back straightaways. He goes to the outside of Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. So he'll work with the 3rd place car now. Kenseth, who is a lap down, will get cleared by Busch after Busch makes the pass on the outside. Newman's starting to lose the 120 of John Hamilton, who has led pretty much every lap since the restart. I think he has led every lap since the restart. Busch 0.8 of a second off the lead. He's gained a half a second in about 2 laps, and they're coming to 6 to go. If we get to 5 or less laps left and a caution comes out, the race could end. 48.741, one of the fastest laps of the day for Busch that last time by. We've got a race to the finish. It has been an interesting one to say the least, but it was definitely racy after that first caution came out. That bunched the field back together. Kyle Busch, Shane Meal working together. Ryan Newman, John Hamilton working together. Tandem in the 2005 season at bumpy Talladega, you wouldn't think would be the case, but that's pretty much it. Everybody trying to use the shared draft to perfection right now. 5 to go. Caution comes out. Race could end. Can't wait if you have the run, but you need to have the run to make the pass. Kenseth's still kind of holding on. Busch with that aggressive line on the inside. He's trying to keep up with Meal. Kenseth right behind the 5. That's going to help Busch. Kyle Busch has a run on Shane Meal. He's not going to sit behind him this time. He's going for 3rd and hoping he's close enough behind Ryan Newman to stay in the draft for the 39. Newman all over the back of John Hamilton in the 120. Busch desperately trying to stay with Ryan Newman. Is Kyle Busch close enough to that 39 car? Kenseth has just gotten by Shane Meal as well as they battle. Busch is pulling away slightly from those cars. Just barely in the draft of Ryan Newman as we have just 4 laps to go. Busch isn't to the back bumper of the 39 yet, but he is very close. It was a risk to pull out a line there, but it looks like it may pay off. And if he gets a run this time, he may have a shot to get by Newman for 2nd. He's far enough behind him. Here comes the run. Busch going for 2nd underneath Ryan Newman. And Busch is up to P2. And he's definitely close behind John Hamilton. Busch not out of it yet. They'll be coming to 3 laps to go. Off turn 4. Again, if a caution comes out, the race could end. Busch trying to get around Hamilton. Shaking around in the tri-oval. Can't pass him. It's a 4-car race for the win. John Hamilton, Kyle Busch, Ryan Newman, and Shane Meal. 2 Cup regulars against a couple of Busch Series regulars, and one of the fantasy drivers trying to pull off the biggest upset we've seen in the Busch Series in a while in this game. Busch going low, back straightaway. Last time he tried to pass Hamilton, it didn't work. This time he's going to side draft him a little more aggressively. Into turns 3 and 4. Busch is clear. Kyle Busch leads at Talladega. Squeezing the 120 on the outside lane to hold on to it. And it is checkers or wreckers now as they'll be coming to 2 to go. If we get to the white flag, there will be no cautions on the final lap. Hamilton trying to go high and block Newman. Couldn't do it. First lap Busch has led in quite some time. Hamilton to the inside for the lead. Newman going with Busch on the top of John Hamilton. showing some strength late. He is out in front again at Talladega. Shane Meal right behind Kyle Busch. Busch trying to stay with Meal. He's going to have some help from behind. Hamilton might be a little too far out ahead of the leaders, though, now that we have more cars in the lead pack going for the win. Meal to the inside of Busch. Busch with the block, held on, and Busch with a run down the tri-oval. Kyle Busch going for the lead as they come to the white flag. Next flag will end the race. Hamilton led that lap at the line. Can anybody get around John Hamilton to win this race? Busch is going to ride the 120 up the track. They're in the wall on the outside, and there goes Shane Meal to the lead. Busch is going to get nearly turned off the exit of the corner. Golly, Shane Meal's going to win at Talladega. Kyle Busch held on for a wild ride in turns 1 and 2, and he's going to be in second. Newman is going to get shuffled out of line. Man, I was just trying to side draft. I wasn't even trying to make contact. The aggressive move did not pay off for Kyle Busch. He was trying to side draft John Hamilton on the outside, and Shane Meal is going to go from third to first on the final lap to win at Talladega by about 3.5+ seconds over Kyle Busch, who will end up second right where he was running coming to the white flag. Shane Meal has won the second race of the season, and the Busch Series regular has won and beaten the Cup regulars. That stinks that didn't work out. Well, Talladega, last lap pass for the win. I did not think Shane Meal was going to be a factor in this win until that last restart. He was inside the top 5. He led just 4 laps today. Boy, he led some important ones. Started 37 too with not many cautions. He did a great job working his way through the field. It wasn't even a block. I was trying to side draft him going into turn 1 because I felt the momentum kind of stalled out, and there was nobody behind us at the time. And the last time I got stalled out alongside of him trying to take the lead, he ended up blowing me away, and I had to catch back up with other drivers in the draft. And because it was the final lap, I wasn't going to have a shot, so I wasn't even looking at making contact there. I was trying to just side draft him. And when I went up the track to side draft him, my car just kept going up, and then I ended up making contact with him. And then once I made contact with him, I couldn't get off of him until we were in the wall. And then Shane Meal, who was on the bottom at full speed, never lifted, got through it, and won the race. I mean, Busch still ended up second, which is where I was running on the final lap anyway, so it stinks I didn't have a shot to win coming to the checker. But, I mean, I put myself in position with a smart race all day long, and the only mistake I made was that final lap. And it wasn't, I mean, it was a costly one as far as trying to win the race, but at least we still had a good run, finished second. When you look at points, I mean, the fact I finished 7th or better in the first 2 races of the year on super speedways on a tough custom schedule season, I couldn't have asked for much better, to be completely honest. We led laps in both races, too. I didn't lead the most today. Mark Martin dominated, but he fell behind on those last couple restarts. So, yeah, Shane Meal with the win. Kyle Busch second. Carl Edwards finishes a quiet third with no laps led. Also started deep. John Hamilton started 40th, led 17 laps, fell back to 4th on that final lap. He's probably going to be a rival with Kyle Busch going into Bristol. Oh, boy. I hope I don't see him. That was an accident. I didn't even mean to. It wasn't like Gordon in the Cup race at Dega last season, where I tried to just hook him for the win. That was by no means my intentions. I ran cleanly. Hamilton had a strong car lead. He had the position. I just didn't think I was going to win the battle because my car wasn't as trimmed out as Daytona. That's insane to run literally my cleanest race probably ever on a super speedway. Not only stayed out of the wrecks, but I wasn't making contact with anybody. I think I might have sideswiped Stewart once earlier in the race by accident, and he ended up in the wall. And we ended up having a caution further back in the field anyway a little later in that lap. But, I mean, outside of that, and obviously just bump drafting, which didn't go wrong at all today, I ran literally the cleanest race. I think the only time I hit the wall was on the last lap when I made contact with John Hamilton and got stuck on him. Unbelievable. Good finish nonetheless. Didn't come all the way down to the stripe, but it did come down to the final lap. Again, last lap pass for the win for Shane Meal. And again, also John Hamilton finished 4th. Irvin getting back-to-back top 10s. An 8th place finish at Daytona. 5th today. He'll be up towards the top of the standings as well. One of the fantasy drivers. Aaron Crocker is going to be 6th after today's race. Good run for her. Brian Vickers backing up his Daytona win is no fluke. He ran top 10 late in this race. Had that good restart that got him in contention. He was actually as high as 4th at one point on the final restart, but couldn't keep up with the top 4 there late. Fell back to 7th once he lost the draft in the lead pack. Brandon Miller ends up finishing 8th. He was top 10 all day. Stewart was top 10 all day. I think he lost some spots on pit road during that last stop with less than 20 to go under the caution. He led just 2 laps, but he was top 3 all day up until that last yellow. Ended up finishing in 9th. And Casey Kane rounds out the top 10, who wasn't really in contention until prior to the last yellow, but ends up with a good finish. Mark Martin, I don't know where he ended up. I think he might have DNF'd. I don't see him anywhere up there. I don't think he was caught up in an accident. Maybe he was caught up in that last wreck. Dale Jr. finished 31st. Boyer, yeah, Martin. I think he was in that last wreck. I think Mark Martin got in that last wreck. I didn't even realize he was involved, but he must have DNF'd from it. He ended up DNFing with 68 laps led. Tough break. I was wondering where he was at the finish. I didn't realize he might have been caught up in it. Kenny Wallace, he DNF'd when he flipped. That's no surprise there. He hit that 138 car very hard at full speed and ended up just barrel rolling in 1 or 2. He did not survive. Well, he did not survive the race. Hopefully he survived the crash. Kennedy Richardson also DNF'd. So 2 drivers crash out, the 2 engine failures. And that will result in 4 DNFs, 3.8 seconds margin of victory today. But that was because of Shane Meal kind of getting away from the carnage in front of him on the final lap and getting the win. 4 yellows for 12 caution laps. Only 17 lead changes, not much at all. Average speed, 151.22 miles an hour. I didn't see how many cars finished on the lead lap. They had a caution in the middle of green flag pit stops once and then somewhat twice because there were a lot of cars that pitted as soon as the window opened to the end of the race, and only a couple of them stayed on the lead lap. So only 19 cars finished on the lead lap for that reason. Well, we'll check out the early season point standings. Just 2 races in, so it's obviously going to be really, really tight still, but it's a good start, though, for Kyle Busch. I was good on the short tracks the first time around. We got a short track at Bristol coming up. And I think in the Food City 250, there's going to be a shot that we could see a win coming out of Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is the man at Bristol, though, so if we're going to get our first win of the season anywhere, it's probably going to be Bristol. I would not be shocked if that is the case. Vickers still leads in points. Obviously, he's had a great start to the year. Kyle Busch has had a great start, too, not too far behind. Shane Meal in second with his win. Only 8 points out of first. Kyle Busch only 10 back. John Hamilton, top 5. Irvin, as I mentioned, had 2 top 10s in the first 2 races. I think, honestly, the top 4 in points are the only 4 that have finished top 10 in the first 2 races. And that is why they are first through 4th on the standings. Yeah, all the Cup regulars have pretty much ran the first 2 races. They will until we get to the fantasy tracks, then they're not going to run those. So Vickers, although he leads in points right now, once we get to the first fantasy track on the season, which isn't until like 7 or 8, you're going to start to see those guys fall back a little further. There are going to be some Cup regulars that run the full season. I know Bobby Labonte did last season, maybe because Vickers is the points leader. He runs it. I'm not sure what dictates who does run the full season, who doesn't. I think Vickers might, considering Busch is a teammate of ours. Because if Vickers doesn't run the full season, then we're not going to have a teammate in some races, which will be interesting. But yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow night. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard start time tomorrow on the channel. We'll be racing at the Daytona Road Course, and that will be taking place on the NASCAR Cup Series side of things for the second race of the custom schedule season with Greg Biffle as our driver there. So trying to bounce back from a Daytona 500 engine failure, blew an engine while leading. Well documented my bad luck at Daytona. I did nothing wrong in that. That was just pure bad luck. So as far as that goes, we'll try to rebound, obviously after a 42nd place finish. And we'll see if we can go out there and get a win on the first road course race of the year. Again, Daytona Infield Road Course. And that will be the second race. I'll see you guys then, 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good night.